Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we'll be taking a deeper dive into our thoughts about Beyond the Villa.
I need you to subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. This is not only going to be news about the show of Beyond the Villa, but this is going to be about the news that is going on beyond the villa with the castmates and things like that. We're going to try to lump them all in because a lot of people feel is hurt today. They heard the JaNa and Kenny news. They scared about the Amaya and Brian news. You get what I'm saying? They don't know what's going on because they're like, hey, guys, y'all supposed to stay together forever, right? Now, Blair, we are reviewing Beyond the Villa.
Yeah.
Right? Beyond the Villa was supposed to be, in my opinion, the way that it was marketed, like a big show because that was a big season of season 6 of Love Island, right? That, in my opinion, I think that is where, is it the best season? The best season I've seen, right? But I think it really picked up with as big as social media is and basically the decline of UK. I think it was the perfect storm for basically season 6 to come on out and for them to get basically the rewards of being on social media, being on a show like Love Island, to where they could actually have a show on the outside the villa, beyond the villa, right? But something is not connecting with the show, right? I'm watching the show. Blair's watching the show. We are reviewing the show, so you can, watch the reviews. But it just seems like, for some reason, it just feels like everyone is caught up in this matrix, the way that I can describe it, as if it just doesn't feel real to me. It feels very, and I don't want to use the word scripted, but it just feels like it's for show. It feels like it's not showing people's real emotions, and I give you an example. I do believe that, let's go with the Connor versus JaNa thing, right? I do believe what Connor said was, out of line and things of that nature. But was it out of line to the point to where JaNa is like, you know what, he is forever an enemy to me? It just kind of feels a little bit more sauce for TV. What is your thoughts on Beyond the Villa so far in these past 3 episodes that we've seen?
I guess my main issue, we just gonna complain pretty much.
Just a little bit.
My issue with Beyond the Villa is it's very Kaylor heavy.
Yeah.
And I was interested in seeing the love stories and the life that Serena, JaNa, and Leah are having in their partnerships.
Yeah.
I wasn't really too interested in following the single life of the people after the villa, including Liv and whatever boyfriend situation she got going on, or Kendall kind of being the tag along a little bit. I wasn't interested in watching all of those people navigate beyond the villa. I think the most interesting part to me was the most recent episode when Kaylor and Aaron were pretty much talking about life before and after the villa, not in regards to their relationship, but in regards to the fame, the popularity, the social media pressures. That was the most interesting and most real for me. But I really wanted to see how our favorite couples were doing and living beyond the villa. And then for the JaNa and Kenny situation, I did find it interesting, while still talking about the show, that they decided to live in separate places, which I felt like was not that big a deal since they were living across the hall from each other. But at the same time, it just made me wonder, well, how are they progressing really? And I feel like because we're so wrapped up in the Kaylor situation and JaNa having to be a support to Kaylor, that I don't feel like I'm getting enough of where JaNa and Kenny actually were. And maybe we'll get that from more episodes. But the way that it's depicted is, like you said, it feels very scripted. And I think coming from Love Island and just experiencing the rawness and the realness of their interactions on the villa to this is just kind of jarring,
and perfect transition. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it feels like the Kayla show featuring Leah, featuring Serena, definitely featuring Cordell, because he's in and out, you know what I'm saying? And if you follow reality TV, we all can agree Love Island is the biggest show, the biggest reality TV show that comes out every year, right? But inside of reality TV, there's like these worlds that people are a part of. There's the Love is Blind network that probably gonna be on Perfect Match and stuff like that. Like basically you're gonna be stuck in this kind of like reality the universe, right? Love Island is big enough that it is its own universe, right? To where they building it out. You should be on Love Island Games. You don't even got to be on Love Island Games. Once you on Love Island and you actually been on there for a good period of time to where you make it near the end, you probably can ride that wave for some good years and things like that. And to your point, what Kenny was, one thing that Kenny mentioned was talking about his old life. Talking about, you know what, like, I really like that job. You get what I'm saying? Like, I know I'm into social media now. I'm kind of, you know, TikTok famous or things like that, to paraphrase. But I really don't know where would that lead to. You get what I'm saying? And now I ask the question when it pertains to them, like, did we ignore the signs? I think the biggest sign is what you said off the top of, on the top of your review, is where you said they live in separate apartments, right? He's over there talking about his old life and talking about potentially going back to get his MBA, trying to basically get out of the matrix, right? Now, this is not an excuse. I am not saying, because, you know, everybody, when the news came out, rumors came out, was that he cheated. They came out and cleared that up and said Kenny did not cheat, right? I'm not here to debate if he did or if he didn't.
Yeah, we have no idea what happened, but all we do know is that everybody unfollowed Kenny on the show. Literally.
So by that action, everybody like, oh, it must be the worst thing he ever did in the world for everybody to unfollow him. But I think if we actually go by this last episode, I'm like, did I miss the signs? Like, whenever he was with JaNa doing TikTok, it didn't seem like he was very, invested in that.
But the thing is, I feel like, at least for me, that was hard for me to decipher.
Help me.
Because during the show, during their season, I really couldn't tell for sure if Kenny was really into JaNa, but after the whole Casa situation and him thinking he lost her and him really crying, when for real, he was breaking down crying, yeah, like I was like, oh, he actually does care for this girl. Like, he might just not be a very expressive person. So I didn't ever really hold that against him, because once I saw that, I was just like, he may just not wear his emotions on his sleeve in that way. Yeah. But as long as he's there for her, he's kind to her, and all that type of stuff, that's fine. Even him talking about, you know, his old life, getting an MBA, I feel like that's a great, smart thing to do, especially knowing that this type of lifestyle is not going to last forever. So I just thought it was smart of him to consider all his options. When it came to them not living together, I mean, I feel like it could have been looked at two ways. I did feel like, you know, well, they're not really engaged, they're not married. Some people have that line. Some people also want to have their space, even though that they are in a relationship where we can be together all the time, but we can still have our own separate domains if we want to. So I wasn't really looking at that as though he didn't want to be with her. He seemed to have the same, like, the way that he behaved with her, the way he always has behaved with her. So I don't think there's anything that we could have seen. And I feel like I also say that for JaNa's sake, of basically saying, like, it's not like the whole world knew and she was out to lunch somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I think that as far as what I have seen, I don't think JaNa did anything that she should have moved differently when it came to her relationship, honestly.
No. So I'm not putting any blame on JaNa at all. JaNa gets zero blame from me. I'm actually not trying to blame. I'm just trying to decipher and trying to basically, like, look how all this started, right? Kenny came in off top on season 6. He was supposed to be the savior of JaNa. Like the pressure of that was on Kenny, basically. And when he came in, and then especially when he did the whole Casa thing, it was basically like, how dare you do that to JaNa? You know, JaNa been basically here waiting for somebody to come in and scoop her up. Because we watched season 6, and there was times that people felt like JaNa should have been eliminated because Rob was in a real couple with, I forgot her name, I think Andrea, or like whatever her name was. But, you know, they saved JaNa and things of that nature to give her an equal shot at Love Island. You get what I'm saying? So when Kenny came, and there was a time for them to actually connect and things of that nature, even though when he first came in, it wasn't too much longer that he went straight to Casa, so there wasn't much roots there with JaNa and Kenny. So when Kenny did come back from Casa and he was basically heartbroken, it seemed, it did seem like, oh, to like your point, I'm like, oh, I ain't know he really had these deep feelings for this girl that he basically just met, right? I'm thinking, like, especially the girl that he brought back from Casa, I'm thinking he just like, hey, I just got here, we kind of just got in a couple, I'm just kind of just extending my explore range because I just got here. Right? But when he broke down, and even, and it's funny because Serena and Leah and all of them was yelling at Kenny, and then when Kenny was crying, they was the first ones consoling him, basically, right? So Kenny was already, there was already a weight on him to basically like, hey, you're here for JaNa. JaNa deserves to be loved because she been here and she actually get a chance to actually get an equal shot at Love Island. Then I kind of fast forward to now, and I'm looking at Kenny basically saying like, hey, before we live together, I kind of want to see how we operate, how we move. To me, if I was to do revisionist history, it seemed like Kenny was trying to put the brakes on something that I felt like was going too fast for him. Not so much the relationship. I just think like once you part of the Love Island world, as I was saying before, like you have to intentionally put the brakes on it to actually get a good pace of what's going on. That's why when I hear him talking about like, I don't know what's going to come out of this, I don't really know what it means to be part of like a social media famous and things like that. I'm actually missing my old job to where I'm actually doing this. I felt stimulated doing that. It just felt like he was, if I had to get, it looked like he was looking for a way out. Like maybe not like intentionally to like.
But you feel like that, speaking to looking for a way out of his relationship, I feel like that wasn't
it doesn't have to be. The relationship is going to suffer by effects of that, because this how crazy it was. We found out, or at least I found out, that they wasn't together by everybody else because they saw JaNa remove the pictures. They saw JaNa remove his name out of her bio and stuff like that. Who is watching these people's pages that much to where they can notice that? Do you get what I'm saying? So there is a microscope on the relationship that I will, if it was me, would make me feel uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be personal to you, even though you may be affected personally, but it could just be like, yo, like I'm kind of like under the microscope to where I really can't move. When people see me, they want to know about JaNa. When people see JaNa, they should want to know about Kenny and stuff like that. So that's why it's like I could kind of see in last episode, if I was to do revisionist history, I'm like, oh, to me, I thought it looked like he was adjusting, but now it kind of looked like he really wasn't. He really was questioning. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
And now we look at it basically, if we go on with the rumors continuously, with Amaya and Brian. Now, here's my thing with Amaya and Brian.
You got to fill me in on that, because the only thing I saw was him pouring liquor into some girl's mouth at a club.
And that's why they think they broke up.
Oh, that's why?
Yeah.
Oh,
because they like, if you're with Amaya or if you got a girl, why are you in the club with another girl basically pouring liquor in her mouth and stuff like that?
I mean, they're like in their 20s, right?
I'm just like, this club culture for me.
I don't know. I feel like that's the club. I mean, it's not like he was grinding up on her, kissing her and stuff like that. I mean, Meg Thee Stallion pours liquor in everybody's mouth. I think that's a bad example, but like, I feel you.
I feel you.
But I mean, Look, I told y'all from the beginning, I really don't know about Brian's motives.
Oh, yeah, pretty much.
But I felt like they were in a good enough looking place. I don't know if it was real, but they were in a good enough looking place for me to vote for them to win. So I don't know.
But that's my problem with. Yeah. That's the problem that I have, that I was saying throughout the review. Right, when you vote like that, or when you think like that, you are thrusting them into a world that I don't think is healthy for them to basically obtain, or basically to continue to keep going if it's not real. That's the only way that you can basically, survive this type of like media presence, this type of like fame and stuff like that. It's if it's real. That's why you can look at Chelley and Ace. That was our real couple for the season that got voted off, because this season wasn't about real couples, right? You can look at them and be like, oh, okay, they kind of got each other's back. They kind of taking a break and stuff away from it.
That's the same for Cordell and Serena, as well as Leah and Miguel. They just have a more calmness when you see them, because it seemed like they're actually in their relationship versus being on a platform for people to look at it.
And matter of fact, that's the perfect. It just seems like they found their pace,
right?
And they're not moving at the pace of how fame may want them to move and things like that.
Right.
Hell, Cordell said, listen, these are the days I'm going to be here to film. If I'm not here, I'm not here.
Yeah, because he got to work.
I got to work, right? I'm not going to depend on the Love Island universe and things like that to basically be like, hey, you got to do this because you with Serena. Listen here, I'm over here trying to teach Serena how to not be scared of my cat.
Right. That's our reality at the moment.
Real world stuff. Leah Miguel, even though Leah may be going through, or at least was going through, some real life health issues and things like that. It just seems like even though they're part of Love Island and things of that nature, they're not part of the Love Island kind of like.
It's not their life.
No, it's kind of like.
I feel like for Kendall, you can tell that this is his life. This is his bread and butter, and this is what he wants to be able to get his fame off of and to connect with other people who are in the same space, which if that's your thing, that's your thing. But you can tell when people are actually living their life and they just happen to be on Love Island.
And now, if I was to use what you used in that example, and we was to go back to Brian and Amaya, if the rumors are true, because they haven't come out and said anything.
Yeah.
But if the rumors are true, what was Amaya's situation? Let's compare and contrast, right? JaNa was waiting, looking for somebody to love her for her, right? Guess who came in? Kenny. Now the weight of not only just being a regular guy that can see how it works, he's basically the savior, right? Amaya's had a bad Love Island experience and things of that nature, and guess who got to be the savior? Brian, right? So now eyes is going to be on them in ways that's not going to be normal because, Love Island got his big fandom. I don't know if y'all saw the video. Jeremiah can't walk through the store without people following him, little
12-year-old girls
following him and things of that nature. And he was eliminated and wasn't even a finalist.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? But now they are part of this world. They got this title of, guess what? You won because of Amaya. So you bet not break Amaya's heart. We out the villa.
I said that. I did say that.
So it's like they out the villa. He wants to go to the club and make people drive the boat, and then people looking at that and be like, "You're not supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to be next to Amaya and basically being her Amaya papaya boyfriend and things like that, her savior." And I'm like, that can be too much pressure for someone to continuously to upkeep. That's why I asked that question that everybody got mad at. I said, can Nick and Olandria break up? And the simple answer that everybody wrote their think pieces and stuff is that they can break up, but we gonna be upset.
Yeah,
they gonna break up, but we gonna write think pieces, and we gonna think Nick did something, or we gonna think it was racism, or we gonna think it was all these things. And I'm just like, listen here, some people can get out the villa and get back to the normality of life and be like, we need to really slow down.
Yeah.
We really need to take a break.
But I will say, when it comes to JaNa, I think that she often talked about marriage and babies. She was talking about marriage on the Love Island villa. And I thought that it was just part of her personality, joking around. And I felt like Kenny, it didn't seem like it really bothered him. I don't know if it actually bothered him or not because we don't know what was going on. But I can see in certain situations how that might be something that makes you want to put the brakes on things because we're not quite there yet. And I think that it is exciting to talk about the future you can have with your partner, but if you guys are just going from dating to being boyfriend and girlfriend, hurrying up and talking about all the future things can be overwhelming for one person. And so now I'm just speculating.
To your point, right? I'm going to speculate from from a guy perspective, right? I don't think there's a problem with a woman putting on the table, this is what I expect out of a relationship. I want to be married, and I want to be a mother and things of that nature, and these are my goals in a relationship. I'm not here for play, right? Yeah. JaNa may have did that. I have no problem with that. She's not in the wrong in that. But if you compare that to what she wants, to what Kenny said in this previous episode, you can understand why Kenny may want to take us. You can understand why I may speculate or why he may want to take a step back. Because he doesn't know the certainty of this reality TV fame, and he's like, I kind of want to go back to school.
But I still don't see why that impacts his relationship.
But the reason why it impacts from a guy perspective, it can impact the relationship if the goal is marriage, and if I don't feel stable as a man, I would be like, let me get myself together first before I go into the deep end of marriage and being a father and all this stuff. I think it's too many unknowns for a guy to deal with. You already got the unknown of basically I quit my job. I'm basically getting paid by basically being seen as a couple, right? But whole time, even though I'm living as a couple for the public, I'm also living as a couple for my mate, and my person wants to get married. And
I will want to clarify that, yes, I think you should let your intentions be known when you're dating, but JaNa would say it frequently in conversation, and I'm not, I guess maybe that does sound like I'm picking at her. I'm really not trying to pick at her. But if your partner isn't there, and if you guys have had that conversation and you do it in front of cameras and stuff like that, that could be an issue.
You have an external pressure and you have an internal pressure,
right?
And now you're never out of the pressure cooker. Right. I'm thinking once I leave Fiji, I'm out the pressure cooker, and we can actually get at our own pace. But no, people want to see JaNa and Kenny You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now I'm always in the pressure cooker. Is that an excuse if Kenny did something wrong to do something wrong? No, that's not an excuse.
No.
I'm just trying to show the reality behind reality TV, right? And what this world of them getting to Love Island, and basically, I think people will continue to sign up for it because, like, come on, like, people look at this and people want clout. People want to be social media famous. I think this was a good season where a good number of them was already, like, had a following on social media compared to getting some normal people and things like that. But I do look at Aaron now and be like, is this going to be a lot of people? Where they just want to, like, kind of, like, get away from it once they're really out of it and just be like, you know what? Once I leave the villa, I kind of want to be out of the Love Island universe.
I think that's the best bet for everyone.
Even though it would be beneficial to stay in the universe. That's how Kendall's moving. You get what I'm saying? That's how Liv is moving. That's how PPG was basically marketed for them to, basically, this is their show. Well, it's supposed to be, but, you know, Kayla and things like that. I just find it very interesting that, you know what, the two people that basically kind of played the same role in season 6 and season 7 is kind of going through the same thing, allegedly, almost at the same time.
Yeah, but overall, I do hope that JaNa is good.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I hope she's good. I hope that it was nothing like that caused her, like, you know, permanent harm or anything, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I hope it's something that she can get through, and through the support of her friends and her family can get through.
Yeah.
And the reason I say JaNa is because if everybody's unfollowing one person, it seems like that person did something crazy.
It just is what it is. And then on top of that, based on the outlets and stuff like that, they say JaNa was the one that ended it. So, even though they clarify, I say cheating wasn't and cheating wasn't the reason, but JaNa was the one that ended it. So I'm like, if it's about self-respect and basically like, hey, this is what I will accept or will not accept, I hope she is fine with that. And I just find it like, wow, now I'm looking at Beyond the Villa, especially since we know they're broken up in real time. I wonder what they're going to show us in the show.
Yeah.
you get what
and
I'm
they
saying?
did show us previews about some conflict that they got into and stuff like that. But JaNa at the time said that she felt like they were editing the show wrong. So I wonder, I don't know, looking back on it, if she would have that same opinion.
Yeah, I think JaNa kind of comes off as someone, this is my opinion, and let me know what y'all think about this. I think JaNa she is the type of person to where you will never know her house is dirty, right? Meaning, like, she's always going to be clean cut. She's always going to present a certain way.
She presents well.
Yeah, so, like, and I think if there was issues and things of that nature, she would never tell you and things like that. So her saying that, oh, it was edited in like a weird way and stuff like that, I think that is her way of putting on basically a front to basically protect maybe the privacy of the relationship, or basically to present well. You get what I'm saying? But we would have to see that scene to really dissect it and things like that. Now I'm looking forward to really look at their relationship and be like, see, look, he want to go back to school. I told y'all, right? But let us know what y'all think. Subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. Beyond the Villa. I was talking to Blair about it, and I was like, we really got to treat these relationships until they get years outside of being on Love Island as basically, like, you know, they was in a work relationship. That was his work wife. You know what I mean? Some people be like, oh no, that's how the work right. That was his real girl. But it can feel like work, and even more work if you're famous. But let us know what y'all think about the whole JaNa and Kenny and Maya and Brian thing. And we will be back. You see us sometime this week.
Bye.